Welcome to the Comedy Here Often podcast. I'm your host, Kevvy. This week on the show, my guest is comedian Brittany Lyseng. Welcome to Vancouver, Brittany.
Thanks, Kevvy.
I feel like you're here a lot. I feel like it's not that special for you anymore, is it?
No, you know what? It hasn't lost its charm. But I am,
Really?
No, but I am here a lot. I'm here like once a month, I feel like. It's like my period.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to equate Vancouver to a period also. I know, real crampy.
Real crap.
I feel like there's lots of Calgary comedians that I thought lived here.
Yeah.
Like I thought Chris Gordon lived here.
Oh, yeah. He's here a ton. Yeah. That's because when you're like, yeah, they're like, where do you live? And you're like, Calgary. They're like, oh, what do you do during the day? And then you're like, no, I'm just a comedian. They're like, oh, you need to move. So they're like, when people are like, oh, you live in Vancouver? I go, kind of.
Kind of do.
On people's couches.
Yeah. Oh, well, welcome. And you were shooting sketches with lovely Lauren today.
I was, yeah. We did, I was so funny that I like, anything that I'm like, oh, here, I'll just like, write these sketches, but I just wrote myself back into a porta potty.
You're like, I thought I moved on from this.
Like I left being on a job site, and then I've been given 1 ounce of like freedom to do something, and I'm like, we're going back to the
back to what I know.
Yeah, hard hats and safety vests.
Yeah,
and making fart jokes. That's all I ever wanted.
Oh, you should never stop something like that. You gotta follow your passion and only do the things that you're passionate about. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
And so. If you're into hard hats that way, I say do it.
I say do it, yeah.
Lauren, you're wearing the best shirt I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think you should come on camera so people can see it.
I know, I was looking at it earlier.
Oh, don't make me do that. So embarrassing.
No, I was looking at all the different ones. There's orange soda. There's
like lazy Pepsi. There's classic cola.
I love it.
There's like something that says AF on it.
I was going to say Sprite as fuck.
Oh, because it's supposed to be lazy AF?
I don't even know if I'm in any of the cameras right now.
Yeah, you're in all of them.
It's supposed to be lazy AF.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good point. See, that's how lazy I am. I can't believe you guys made me do that.
Oh, I know. Sorry to put you out of your comfort zone.
How I feel about it.
So one segment I like to do on here. Bye, Lauren.
Bye, Lauren.
Is I like to ask people about their worst day job experiences, and it feels like you've already just started talking about it. And so,
oh yeah,
like I always kick it off. People are always like, "No, I don't really know if I have any." And I'm like, one time I worked at a movie theater, and there's a dead body in the dumpster. And then people are like, "Oh yeah, okay, actually, I do remember this one thing." It's never that, but it's always a variation on that.
I was actually telling this outside when we were filming these sketches, and we're all in safety vests because I was triggered into like a flashback of my first day on a construction site, which was before the elevator is built in a construction building. It's called a skip, and that's like that rickety thing you see right up the side of buildings.
Like the scaffolding?
No, it's called a skip. It's like an elevator they attach to the outside of buildings.
Oh, yeah.
And it rides up the side of the building before anything's built inside.
Yeah.
And it was like my first day.
Yeah.
And I get in there, and what people probably have never seen outside of a construction site is these half porta potties.
Okay.
So they're like half, so there's no real top to them. So you can kind of just see the top of somebody's head sticking out of them.
Yeah.
So I was riding up in the skip, and then I opened the door, and it was just this overweight man pooping. And he didn't have enough room to wipe his sweet little bum.
Yeah.
And as the door opened, I just saw a man kick a door open and then just turn around to wipe his bum. And it was literally 6:58 in the morning.
Holy.
And then he just goes, "Sorry, fellas, she's a little tight in there."
Oh. You gotta respect how what's unapologetic
Yeah.
people who have lost all their sex appeal are.
Yeah, he just didn't care. He just was like,
That's a level of comfort I respect.
me too. He was just like, man's gonna wipe his bum.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is true.
Wow.
And then everybody started laughing. Like,
Yeah.
it was just so par for the course for everybody else.
Now,
And it was my first day.
Now, do you think a guy like that, he's comfortable with everyone seeing him do that, do you think he'd be the kind of person who wouldn't get nervous if they're going to do pornography, maybe?
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? It's like, that was a cakewalk for him, and to me, that's more graphic.
Yeah, he like that's more graphic than pornography.
I think so.
And more
Butt wiping.
humiliating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, it's fine.
He's like, what? He announced it. He was
Yeah.
proud of it.
Yeah, he's like, sorry, fellas.
It was a nice thing for him to say to you.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
know,
said,
I was like, I'm a girl.
like I said, you got to do the thing you're passionate about, and that gentleman has found it. So that's day one.
That was day one of being on a construction site, yeah, because before that I was kind of working in newer buildings. So it was like the first time I was on a construction site. And I was just like, come on, man. And I was just thinking,
God.
this is my first day.
Yeah.
But also, that's it was so funny to me.
Yeah.
Like, I was not traumatized by it anyway.
No.
I laughed about it all day.
Do you feel like, were you like, oh, fuck, it's all downhill from here, and then nothing was worse than that ever, and so...
No. There are so many things that happen when there's a lack of women in an environment.
Oh.
Boys are just so gross.
Yeah, I know.
And it just gets out of control so quickly.
Yeah.
So I feel like by like inserting a girl into those situations, it just keeps it at just like a...
What do you think it's like without you there?
Oh my God. Because you know when it started to become that everybody was so comfortable, it was like not
Yeah,
having
yeah.
a girl on site.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, boys, don't throw your piss bottles at each other. Like, it's so gross.
So punk rock.
But it's fun, you know?
It's probably fun to watch. Would they kind of leave you out of that kind of stuff?
Not towards the end, no. Never. Because you know what? We were having fun.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like we were hanging. That was like the funnest part of it. That's the thing I like about anything.
Yeah.
Is just like 6 dudes in a confined space finding one person to bully. Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like we're all having fun. We're all like teasing each other and riffing all day long.
Yeah.
And just in the meantime, you know, getting stuff built and everything like that. But it's a lot of fun. Like, I like that environment. Even in comedy, I still, as much as I'm like, I'm still like behind a dumpster being like, oh, eat it, put it in your mouth. I'll give you $5 if you eat it. Like, it's me starting it, you know,
love
and
that.
it's nothing's changed really.
I remember like one of my first jobs was I was cutting out caulking on high rises, and I'm afraid of heights. And I had to be on swing stages, and everyone I worked with were from Romania. And those dudes were harsh. Like, they thought I was such a pussy, and they just thought it was so funny to just tell me things to disturb me. But the things that they would tell me were crazy. Like, they're like... They were speaking to each other about the next thing they were going to tell me to bother me. And the one guy was like talking about how they had a stray dog problem in their city.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, so we would just drown them. And I was like, what? And they were like, oh, this pussy thinks that's disgusting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they were talking about me like I was an idiot because I found that disturbing. And I was like, I still think about that story. Like, he gave me the details of it and stuff.
You're just like, oh God.
I'm like, you're in charge of my life.
Every day. You know? Just the lack of fear. And the it really is. I think a lot of times they're just telling you something to be like, find out what quinces you out.
Yeah.
And then just be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
This guy cries when dogs die.
Yeah,
You're like, I'll do it again.
Yeah. They, like, if they had the internet on them, like, you know, they'd probably be like, hey, check out this snuff footage. Oh, you think that's bad? Pussy. Like,
what a pussy.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Someone's gonna pull up his socks. Yeah, that's all. I'll just like, that's all it is.
Yeah. They're just testing my limits. I was like 14 or something.
Oh, no.
You're just like,
Awful.
I know.
It's funny, every time I do this show and we talk about this kind of stuff, I realize how horrible my life has been at day jobs. Like, I was afraid for my life daily because I hate heights.
Yeah.
And I had to wear the little harness and stuff, and I thought I was going to die all the time. And there was that corpse and stuff. Yeah.
You know, when the dead body.
The dead body. So, like, did you do the... Because after that was when you did elevator repair, right? Or was it escalator?
It's both, yeah. It's it's elevator and escalator repair. So it's, the trade is called Elevator Constructors Union.
Wait a second.
Yes, sir.
I guarantee you must have found some weird stuff in escalators stuck in there, right?
Oh, well, there's like, dude, kids should not wear Crocs.
Just in general.
you
Wait,
know,
why?
They you know, like the brushes that run upside on the side of an escalator?
Yeah.
They're actually just like a deterrent so that your foot hits that. And then you just go like, oh, it's like touching something. So you move away from it.
Yeah.
But little kids just don't have that part of
Yeah.
their brain, and they
Just say it. They're stupid.
They're, yeah, you know what your problem is, little kids?
I'm not afraid to say it.
Your frontal lobe isn't fully developed. But they just so like any kind of shoes like that would always get stuck in there.
Crocs?
Yeah,
But
because
they're so round.
dude, because it's like mushy foam. Like people don't realize that like escalators more than often are shut down for safety reasons because there's switches in place that if something compresses at all on either side or going forward or going in, it shuts it down right away.
Oh, wow.
But that's just in the last 20 years.
Oh, my goodness.
So they used to be pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And like, little kids just run their hands on stuff all the time.
Oh,
Like,
man.
so they just get like, you gotta
Just
be
peanut butter all over everything.
Oh yeah.
You know, kids are with their
They're
peanut
just-
butter.
Well, even just like they like sticking they like the feeling of the handrail, so they
Yeah.
like to. I've seen little kids just try to stick their hands right in there, and I'm like, no. Like, yeah.
That kid is stuck in the escalator again.
So I've never really seen a body part stuck in an escalator, but I've certainly
Found?
almost right before.
Oh,
it
yeah,
happened.
yeah. It's like, I remember reading this article, I think it was in Vice a long time ago, but it was somebody who worked at McDonald's, and it was a tally of all the things they found at the bottom of the ball pit, and it was fucked.
Oh,
It was like weird stuff like a glass eye. It's like, okay, if you've lost your glass eye, wouldn't you go try and find it? And someone left a prosthetic leg in there.
No way.
The grossest thing to me was a live snake.
Oh, that freaks me out.
That's so scary. That's a nightmare. That's the
is-
scariest thing I've ever heard
That's the
of.
scariest. That's like a Halloween prank.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the scare. Like if you were designing things to scare people, you'd be like, oh, it's like a place where kids play,
Yeah.
it, but there's snakes in there.
Yeah. It's like a scene from It.
I could never. I haven't watched it yet because I just get too scared.
Really?
Oh, I'm a suck. Like I just get too.
My mom's
can't
like
handle
that. She can't handle anything that's where the intent is to be frightening. Like, even, I remember one time I came home and she had a pillow half over her face, and I was like, oh, what's she watching? Like Candyman or something? It was like a 1960s Godzilla movie that's like black and white, campy bullshit. And she's like, oh my God. Yeah.
Could happen.
Yeah.
One time, me and my brother were watching those Saw movies.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
In my early 20s.
Yeah.
And we put the dog outside, and the dog was just killed a bunch of birds.
Oh.
So all we heard was a slam, and then we opened the door, and it was just dead birds lined up, and he was like, I brought these for you.
Wow.
And we were like, ah! I hate this.
Your dog is a huge fan of the Saw
Yeah,
franchise.
It was a scary moment.
Yeah. I love how nasty dogs are. That's hilarious.
He's like,
I remember seeing my dog when I was a teenager run and not stop and just scoop up a dead rat and eat it and keep running. He was like, ah! Shut the door so she couldn't get inside. Yeah. What movie do you think is the scariest movie you've ever seen?
I saw. Oh. What is it called? It starts with a C. The something. Oh, I'm.
Conjuring.
The Conjuring.
Yeah.
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 Conjuring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's because there was dead bodies in the walls and stuff. I don't like the idea that just like there could be dead bodies behind something. Like
Somewhere where you're not allowed to
yeah,
go.
it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, that's our basement. There's dead bodies behind the wall.
Oh,
and
man.
you're just like, oh, no wonder you don't want to go down there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was scary.
Oh man. Yeah. Is it the kind of thing where you have a hard time sleeping at night after that?
Yeah, like I'm scared of the dark, so I don't like.
I love it.
I don't. sleep
Not
without a
afraid
light on.
of working with a bunch of rough gentlemen wiping their butts, but
the dark. No, thank you.
you know what movie scared me for some reason so bad when I saw it, and it's so silly because I can watch almost anything, and I do music for horror movies and stuff. Signs really bothered me.
Yeah.
The aliens. They worked with the suspense so well that I was like screaming in this. I don't know why. I also wasn't expecting it. I didn't know what it was when I went to see it, and it was just really effective on me for some reason.
I was just always waiting for Mel Gibson to say something racist. That's what scared me. I was like, no, don't do it, Mel. Don't do it.
These fucking green people.
He's weird. But he just. The water. Remember, it was the water
Yeah.
that saved the little girl. Left those glasses. Of
Good
water.
thing.
Oh man.
Good thing she's a germaphobe.
Germ.
Joaquin. It was Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like how right now the Joker movie that he just had come out, you're not allowed to go to it by yourself. There's a rule because they
What?
think someone that goes by themselves is going to shoot everyone.
Really.
That's really what's happening.
My buddy said he just went and watched it,
Mm-hmm.
and this dude came in the last 5 minutes with a backpack and set his backpack down and walked out of the theater.
Oh.
And he was just like, what a jerk. Like, he's probably doing that
Yeah,
on
yeah,
purpose
yeah.
just to, like, scare people or...
You look through it and it's just balls from a ball pit with a snake in the bottom. No!
This is so scary. This is my worst nightmare.
I read about it. Some review was like, I didn't like it. It was just too depressing and sad. And I was like, perfect. That's what I want. That's what the Joker should be. He's like a failed comedian, basically.
Oh, yeah. And he's that just, like, out of control laughing where he can't
Yeah.
even help it. It's like a
Yeah.
tick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it should be sad.
Yeah. We know comedians like that. No. You're a delight, Brittany. Everyone loves you.
I don't know.
Apparently some guy went into the theater a couple days ago and he was laughing hysterically every time the Joker hurt somebody and they kicked him out. Get out of here, creep.
They're like, you know...
Trying to enjoy this creepy movie. You're too creepy for this.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah.
It's funny that now, like, I think with, like, things being so, you know, like, publicized all the time.
Yeah.
That it's just people are looking for, like,
yeah.
oh, I'm the guy that was laughing in the theater.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
Anyone want to have sex with me?
yeah, please, someone have sex with me. Is that a snake around your... snake around his neck, juggling the balls?
Huh? Still no?
What, still no? I can, yeah.
Better add a crazy hat. I like Paul F. Tompkins. Do you like him?
Yeah.
He's like one of my favorite comedians, but he has this bit about seeing people downtown, where whatever city you're in, that have like a bird on their shoulder or a cat on their back. He's like, well, you must be the most interesting person in the world. There's so much of that at Vancouver. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a woman who walks around and she has a duck.
Yeah.
And it has signage, and the signage says, hey, Instagram's great, but it ain't free. So if you want a picture with the duck, $20. And so I like that she's already like
capitalized
sassy
on
about it. Like, listen, nothing comes free in life. That'll be $20. And her duck is, I mean, it's really benefiting from that money, I'm sure.
The duck's just, like, got a little collar around its neck, and he's like, I'm a duck. I'm a duck. Let me go. This is my natural habitat. Yeah.
Do you have any phobias? Like, I'm really afraid of drowning.
Yeah, I don't love the idea of drowning.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of being buried alive.
Oh,
a whole
yeah.
bunch. That's
I had Gina Harms on here, and she said the same thing.
it's like that. Well, I don't like being in small spaces really
Okay.
that much, and the idea of being locked in a small space doesn't excite me.
Man, for truly claustrophobic people, flying must be the worst experience.
It's because you're really just like in a tube.
I'll have moments of claustrophobia on a plane, and then I'll be like, I have to be here for 6 more hours. I better just not think about this anymore.
Do you know what I do? I pick the window, and everybody's always like, "What are you doing with the
Yeah.
aisle?" I hate the repetitive banging of the cart on your leg.
It always happens to me, and I'm a wide dude, and everyone who walks by hits my arm and then doesn't acknowledge it.
Yeah, they hit my shoulder all the time.
Why are they out there? They're not gonna
felt
say
it.
sorry. You know.
No.
Your hip hit me.
I pick the window so that what I can do is take an unhealthy amount of sleeping pills,
Okay.
and then I just curl up.
Even coming from Calgary to Vancouver?
No, it's too short.
Yeah.
I can't afford to fly anywhere for comedy. But I do like short. Like if I can drive somewhere, I'll drive.
Yeah.
Just because I like being mobile when I get there,
Yeah.
and it's easier for me to just
That's a good point.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't typically fly to Vancouver.
I like the aisle on a plane mostly because even more than I hate having my shoulder hit every 10 seconds, I hate feeling like maybe I have to go to the bathroom, but then I'm going to have to bother
You're gonna
2
have to
people to stand up.
Oh yeah.
like I'd rather just be in pain
I just
than
go
bother anybody.
diapers and sleeping
Oh,
pills.
that's a great move.
I just poop and sleep
That's a
where I'm
great
at.
move. You learned that on the job site, I heard.
Poop and sleep at all.
Like,
Yeah.
Brittany, we have some advice for you. Get a notepad. This is gonna help.
I'm like, it's just diapers. And sleeping pills. There's only 2 things written on it.
What element of being buried alive terrifies you? Like, what do you think about? Because Gina Harms and I were talking about it, and then she was like, because you either, it's like you run out of air and you suffocate, and I was like, oh, I was picturing you like breathing dirt into your lungs, and that's what kills you. And she's like, I never thought about that. That's even worse.
I've heard stories of people being buried alive, and the idea of scratching
Oh yeah.
the coffin until you wear your fingers off.
Oh, that's an interesting angle.
Yeah, it's because the fight.
Yeah.
It's an unwinnable fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you're there's no way you're getting out.
Yeah.
No one can hear you.
Yeah.
You can scream and scream and scream. I'd probably find a way to kill myself while I was in there.
Yeah, like
I'd
hold
be
your
looking
breath for a
things
long
to-
time. Oh, okay.
You know what's like so terrifying though is like they used to put these like bells on strings that would.
Yeah,
reach
we
down
talked
down.
about that. Yeah, for people who are mummifying themselves,
Ooh.
and then they ring it every day, and then when it stops ringing, guess they're dead.
That's like terrifying. I'm glad they got rid of that.
Yeah.
I heard that there's a podcast called The Dollop, and they did that. They talked about that. I think it was in the Vampire Panic. It was called. Because they were so worried that like people were becoming vampires, and then the coffin bell thing started at the same time. So you'd be in a cemetery, and like they'd hear bells ringing. No. So people were in like an absolute panic.
I'm still worried about vampires, though.
Yeah.
I don't care if they don't do that anymore. If they're vampires, we'd be fucked. Because I'm such a sound sleeper, and it'd be so easy to kill while I'm asleep.
I know. I watched so much True Blood.
Oh, yeah.
When that was out, I had a real obsession with it.
How insulting would that be if they bit you and then didn't turn you? It's like, listen, motherfucker, you're just food. Like, you're not cool enough to also hang out with us for eternity.
Yeah, they're just like, listen, we can't.
It's like, I have commitment issues. I like being by myself. It's like, okay, Lestat.
Yeah, dude.
When I was a little kid, I loved the movie Interview with the Vampire. I
Yes.
loved it. And then I watched
Yes.
it again like last year, and I was like, I didn't realize how homoerotic this is.
Oh,
It's like them
yeah.
biting each other and like flying around, like Tom Cruise like sucking on Brad Pitt's neck, flying around in a ball gown. It's like, oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I realized it and then watched it 18 more times.
Definitely.
I was like, yeah, suck on his neck.
Yeah.
But you know what?
What a handsome cast. Go on.
What a handsome cast.
Antonio.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it in so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite campy now that when you watch it. It's not like something that I don't feel like it holds up.
All the stuff that I loved in that age, if I watch now, I still like it. Like, it's like, it just won't, like, The Crow was, like, my favorite movie. It's still, even when he's playing guitar solo by himself on the church rooftop, I'm like, it's pretty badass, I guess.
It's like
I'd do the same thing if I got murdered.
there are like kids movies that I watch now that I'm just like, I know I'm not supposed to like this at this age.
Like what?
Like I'm trying to think of like Karate Kid
Oh, I love Karate Kid.
or The Three Ninjas. I was really into a lot of kicking movies.
Three Ninjas is good. Because it's like Home Alone with karate.
Exactly.
Like, they do the traps part, and but they also actually know how to fight.
It was awesome.
Anything with bumbling crooks in it, I'm into it.
Me too. My parents and my aunt and uncle would always they'd be like, you kids pick a movie, and there'd be like my 3 cousins and us.
Yeah.
And we'd pick the same 3 movies.
Yeah,
over
I
again.
did that
Three
too.
Ninjas, Mortal Kombat. And we'd always be like, give me your soul.
Yeah.
It's fun.
My friends, the Soska sisters, are these identical twin directors. They can recite that movie entirely
Mortal
from
Kombat.
memory. The 2 of them can go back and forth and just do the dialogue from the whole movie. I should have them on, and they should do that.
That's just an entire episode.
It'd just be like one viewer, and it would be Brittany and her cousins.
my brothers and sisters and cousins.
I used to do that too, except I'd rent Billy Madison, and my mom was like, "This movie is inappropriate for you.
Oh yeah.
You're a little kid, and there's so much sexual stuff in it, and like Steve Buscemi's like gone crazy from being bullied, and he's like a murderer now.
Oh yeah,
and-
he's like crying crossing names off with
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite scenes when he crosses the name off with lipstick and then puts the lipstick
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Oh.
And then he sits back and just enjoys his evening, I suppose.
There's Billy Madison, me and my brother could recite word for word.
I love when I meet a person like that because I realize that we're kindred spirits.
It's so funny to me that it just like, I love when seriousness gets invaded by silly.
Yeah.
So like his dad in the movie is
Yeah.
just trying to run a business.
Yeah.
And trying not to hate his son. Like he's just desperately trying
We
to be
all
like,
relate to that.
he's like, he's a good boy.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's just so drunk all the time, and it's
Yeah.
so fun to watch for me.
And it had really dark moments. Like, remember at his that one graduation where that clown falls and everyone thinks it's a joke, and then you realize he's dead.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And everybody keeps playing around.
Yeah, they all laugh.
Or even the educational decathlon, or the academic decathlon.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, he's just like, there will be no cheating. Except for my wife, who is a dirty, dirty whore. All right, the first category.
Keeps making it about himself.
Yeah, dude. And everybody just, I love, like, the just, deadpan of people sitting through that and not acknowledging it.
Yeah.
The fact that he's just breaking down as a person and trying to carry on. That's exactly what I find funny.
Norm Macdonald's in that movie.
He is in that movie. I love Norm Macdonald.
Adam Sandler was like my hero when I was a little kid, and they filmed Happy Gilmore here, and I got to be an extra in it, and you cannot see me, and that crushed me. But I got to meet him for like a second when I was like 10.
Oh my God.
And he was really cool, and he made there was like a bunch of kids there for some reason, and he made a joke about like a monkey farting or something, and we were like, that's awesome.
You're like, this guy's the best.
Exactly his demographic for the time, and probably still. He did that new movie with Jennifer Aniston where it's like a murder mystery, and it's pretty good.
It was actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
I know he, a lot of people are like, you sold out. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Why?
He has the best life I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I'm like,
because
why?
he just makes movies, casts only his friends.
Yeah.
They do it in a nice island every time. And then I heard backstage he just gets a basketball court built and they just play, and filming the movie is like secondary to that.
Dude, and that's what it looks like. And I watch it and I appreciate it. People are always like, oh, Grown Ups 2 is so hacky. I'm like, buddy, the only reason he did Grown Ups 2 because he was just like, hey, we should do that again.
Yeah. It's
then,
a vacation.
It's like, don't you gotta write a movie? I was like, I'll get somebody to
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Well, I'll figure it out.
We'll just freestyle it on the set. I love that. I love that Chris
awesome.
Rock's in it.
Me too. I love David Spade a lot.
Yeah.
I like seeing David Spade in anything. I've always thought he was so funny.
I loved Hollywood Minute.
Hollywood Minute was one of my favorite lines ever. Was from Hollywood Minute.
Which one?
When he's just like, he's like, ooh, I'm a celebrity. I'm in a limo. I have $50. Because there's just like, it was the first time I like realized like, oh yeah, if you just like pitched in, it really only costs us $50 to ride in a limousine.
That's a great point.
Like, it was just, like, it made me laugh so hard. He's so smarmy and funny. Oh, I love him.
There's this Hollywood Minute thing that I've never forgotten, and it's such a cheap joke, but it worked so well on me as a kid. And it still works so well on me, where he goes, it just shows the poster for the movie Chaplin, and he's like, Chaplin, more like Craplin. And then the audience laughs, and then it shows a picture of a little kid, and he's like, my 7-year-old nephew wrote that joke. Yeah. I loved SNL growing up, and I totally didn't understand the jokes. I just liked it, you know.
We used to recite it. Me and my best friend Lena Newman.
Yeah.
We would.
Shout out to Lena Newman.
Lena Newman is gonna be watching. She's my best homie in the whole wide world. We've known each other since grade 2.
Wow.
And we just we were like losers, but we didn't know we were losers. Like, people would be like, instead of like thinking like people were excluding us, we'd be like. Whatever they're doing over there is not
cool.
for us. We wore matching Adidas tracksuits.
You guys are like the coolest people I've ever heard of.
We had so much fun. And then we evolved to like jeans, but we got chains on our wallets right at the same time. No fear wallets with chains.
Oh, you guys are cool.
Yeah.
We still dress exactly the same. Nothing has changed. But yeah, we would recite word for word like SNL sketches, and people would come over and they'd be like, "Hey, like I'm sure their parents were like, you should go talk to those girls and invite them to play with you guys."
Yeah.
They'd come over. We're like, we're busy.
Wayne's World.
She's like, all right, from the top.
yeah.
Like
Doing the Gap Girls.
Yeah, we were just lay off me. I'm starving.
I'm starving. I love that.
Oh yeah, we did so much. We were obsessed with Sherry O'Terry and Molly Shannon.
Oh man,
Just like
I heard this Molly Shannon interview, and she was talking about how her and Will Ferrell had this agreement on SNL that if a sketch was bombing, they'd commit to it 10 times harder.
I love that.
Because neither of them would break ever.
Yeah,
That's
Will
amazing.
never broke really. And
Yeah.
Molly Shannon never broke.
Yeah.
I'm 50. And she'd kick her leg.
I love that character.
Dude, I love her so much.
What would she say when she would kick her leg?
She'd just go, I'm 50. I'm 50 years old. She'd kick it up real high. She'd have like a cartoonish camel toe with whatever she was wearing.
Yeah.
It was so funny to me.
I heard Jim Brewer talking about how he had this rivalry with Chris Kattan for some reason. Yeah. And Chris Kattan he said that Chris Kattan would always be like hitting on the host if it was a woman.
Yeah.
And they were gonna do this Twilight Zone sketch where Norm's the host. He plays.
I love this story.
Yeah, and he's like not committing to it. He's not really doing an impression of Rod Serling at all. And Chris Kattan's like, "Oh my God, like why are you? You're not even gonna. This is how we're gonna do it. You're not even doing a good impression." And he's like hitting on Pamela Anderson, who's in the sketch. It's like, oh my God, and like Norm Macdonald's like not sticking up for himself, which is weird because he like roasts everybody, and he keeps doing it, and then he waits till it's like. He waits till there's like they're counting down 10 seconds to airtime, and then he turns to Chris Kattan. He's like, "Hey Pamela, did Chris tell you he's gay?" And he just starts roasting him right before they go to air. So if you watch the sketch, they're like all laughing except him.
Oh my god.
And then does like the best impression.
Yeah, he actually does like an accurate impression of Rod Serling.
He's like, in a world where... Dude, I love stuff like that because it's so funny because it's just like...
Yeah.
Any Norm story is it's
I love
insane
Norm.
and I love it so much.
He's the most fearless guy.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I've really been enjoying is dice stories. Like Ari Shafir was talking about how when he was the doorman at the Comedy Store, anytime a fan would come and want to take pictures with Andrew Dice Clay, he'd be like, "Sure, give me the camera," and he'd purposely put himself out of angle of the photo, so it's just the corner of his head. He's like, "There you go, nice to meet you," and so they'd get home and realize it didn't work. Like that's funny to him. Is just like being like awful to his fan base that way. I love that. Yeah.
People expect like comedians to be sane people. No. And then they're like, "Hey, it's a little weird." I'm
Yeah.
like, of course he was.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think was gonna happen?
That's like when people complain about musicians being egotistical. It's like, yeah. This comedian or this musician wants everyone looking at them all the time and feels fine about that impulse, me included. Yeah. And you're gonna say they have no ego, and it's like I don't want Kings of Leon. I don't want the super good boys. I want the badasses.
Yeah, it's like, dude. Also just like the difference between musicians and comedians at the end of a show, I love so much. Because musicians are like drinking in a green room and they're like, "Whoa, it's a pretty good show." Yeah. They're like, "There's somebody here, tell them to fuck off."
Yeah.
And then comedians were like, "Buy our shirt." Like we're standing at the front door,
I love
waiting
that.
for thank yous. We're like, "Did you enjoy yourself?" Everyone's like, "No."
It's a great Chris Gordon impression. You just
Was it?
buy my bear gun. I gotta say he was. I just had Guy McPherson and Sam Tonning on the last one.
Yeah.
And they were just roasting Chris Gordon for some reason. So I feel bad I just did that. I love you, Chris Gordon.
Chris is one of my favorite pals. He cracks me up so much.
Yeah.
I'll just get a message from him every once in a while, and it makes me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
Because it'll be just like, so funny. It'll just be a video of him. He's like, "Oh, I'm just in a small town picking up babes." And then he'll like pan out, and he's just at a closed drive-through window, and he's knocking on the window.
He's so funny.
Dude, he's so funny.
He's so funny.
I don't know if I know a funnier person.
I know. He's the most ridiculous guy. And I love all his phobias. I can't wait to have him on here to ask him about them because he's like I love that video where he's doing a set and there's someone getting a live tattoo on stage next to him. And then he realizes it and he has a fear of blood. So he screams and jumps out the window.
What? Oh, yeah.
He runs and jumps out the window of the venue. He's so funny.
He was in, in Calgary at the Plaza, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's this great show called Late Night at the Plaza, and it's sort of this just like guerrilla late night show where it's like all these hilarious out of control bits.
Oh.
And they do like sketches. They film sketch. Oh my god. You know what I appreciate about a guy with a skullet? When he
What?
braids it. You know what I mean? That's a guy who was just like, not only am I gonna... I like that. Look.
Wait, does he have a cane? Oh, he has dogs. Of course he does.
He's just walking around with a skull cane. I do think it's like really... I can't take people seriously when they're trying to look scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That guy looks like a roadie for a band with a lot of sex misconduct allegations.
They're like, we haven't been doing ball-bearing necklaces for some time. Sir.
The only thing better than braiding your skullet is braiding your goatee, which is
yeah.
next for him, I'm
That's,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a roadie for Static X.
He was like,
It's a deep cut.
what is that, a Stashire Terrier? Yeah, of course it is.
Of course it was.
is.
Of course it
What
was.
is that, some off-brand of a pit bull? It is, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. That's the
Well,
look.
somebody has to protect the meth that's under his mattress in his one-bedroom apartment. Yeah.
He's just missing a chain link fence and decrepit stairway going up to his house.
Man, we really roasted that guy who can't stick up for himself
Yeah.
right now.
Poor
Or
guy.
What
has
this window's
no
good
idea.
for.
He's like, oh, I'm actually just heading over to my charity event. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
What are you guys doing? Just selfish stuff all the time? Yeah? That's what I thought.
What are you
And he's a
talking
big-
about yourself? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
He's like a big fan of the podcast, but now he's not.
Yeah. He's literally listening to it right now, like, ha ha ha, like laughing. See him next week, just crying after this one
Cry.
comes up.
Oh.
Have you ever had an experience with a ghost?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Go on.
Are you guys ghost people?
No.
Oh, I just spit directly at
I
you.
deserved it.
I'm so sorry.
Alana Brittany came on here and was like, basically her story is she was in this theater and then she got a text from a number that doesn't exist, and it was like, yeah, like fuck, like people come on here and have the craziest stories.
Oh,
so
yes.
I'm wondering if you do.
I used to, well, my grandmother had passed before I was born.
Okay.
My mom's mom. And I used to have very vivid dreams of her when I was a little girl, when I was like 8, 9. And then I would I would literally just like walk in her room and be like, hey, grandma. We'd like sit in a room. It was like a white room. We'd just sit and talk.
Whoa.
And then I'd wake up.
Holy.
And I'd be like, okay, whatever.
You'd have
And
like
then-
meaningful conversations?
Meaningful conversation. She would ask like, oh, is everything okay? You know, whatever. And then I would like, she'd be like, oh, just tell your mom this. And then, like, as an 8-year-old, I'd just, like, go to my mom and be like, hey, like, this situation that's going on in your life, like, you don't need to worry about it. Grandma says that it's not a big deal.
What
And
would your mom say?
she was just, like, I think she's had similar experiences. So she kind of just played it down. Like, she didn't
Wow.
really respond about it at all. She just was like, okay.
Whoa.
But I was like, how did that not freak you out that you're,
Yeah.
like, Children of the Corn daughter just, like, walked out in a nightgown with black eyes. Like, Grandma says don't be worried about Bill. But no, it was just like a really natural thing that it felt like. And then I would just know all this stuff that there's no way I would know if I was
Holy.
8 years old. So I've had a lot of like experiences surrounding my grandmother kind of
Yeah.
always being around. But I mean, my parents' house, their basement was always
In Calgary?
yeah. Kind of funky. There before we moved in, it was like they had a older man living in the basement. It was kind of like a basement suite.
Okay.
And then when we moved in, my dad's like really talented carpenter, and he like just ripped it all apart and
Yeah.
redid it all, and it looked beautiful and everything. But it like we'd have crazy stuff happen. He died in that house. That
Oh my
guy.
goodness.
So like it was just the previous owners, you know.
Yeah.
But he was the lights would go on and off. The sinks would go on full blast.
Whoa. See, I'm saying like I've never had an experience, and I think I'm just I think ghosts aren't interested in me. Like I don't know what it is. Maybe they just think I'm annoying or something. But like my last apartment, at one point I found out someone hung themselves in my bedroom.
Jesus.
Nothing ever. I had no experiences, no visitors. And then other people just seem like to have like so many stories about it, so I'm just so like curious about it.
Yeah, me and my brother were one time in Sparward, British Columbia, and we were up all night, and we were laughing, and we had been like up drinking all night long, and he's like, let's make macaroni. And we're like, yeah, let's do a little craft dinner.
Yeah.
And we fired up a pot of craft dinner, and we're like sitting over at the table, and we're laughing, and we're just like, we'd been carrying on for so long.
Yeah.
And the spoon out of the craft dinner was like, whap,
Whoa.
across the room and hit.
Holy.
And we're like, okay, time to go to bed.
Whoa.
No way.
Yeah, we just turned the oven off, went to bed. We didn't stay up and eat. We were like,
Oh man.
then I was just like, well, so I'm sleeping with you? He's like, absolutely not.
Holy.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's
It
terrifying.
was scary, yeah. So I've had tons of stuff. But, like, a lot of people are just like, I also don't care if people are like, oh, this fucking doesn't happen. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was lots of experiences for sure.
I had a similar situation, except it wasn't a ghost. It was my friend Steve, and we'd been drinking too much and doing too many mushrooms, and he fell asleep while making a pizza on the oven, so there was just flames licking the ceiling.
Oh,
And so I turned it off, and then he woke up, and then it was fine. And he actually tried to give Tony from Fake Shark, he's like, Tony was asleep sitting up.
yeah.
And he was like, hey, Tony, do you want some pizza? And Tony was asleep, but still talking. He's like, yes, that'd be very good, actually. And then we were like, well, open your eyes then and eat it. Like, he thought he was having a dream. Someone was offering him pizza. And then he woke up and it was really happening. What a great situation
That
for
is
him.
an amazing situation.
That's
Yeah.
the best case for having a dream like that. You
Yeah,
wake up
yeah.
and it's actually
It really
happening.
is happening. It's his dream come true.
Dream come true.
And that's a good place to end it. Thank you, Brittany. What do you got coming up? I guess the album's coming up.
Yeah, dude. October 17th
Okay.
is the big release of Going Up,
Yep.
recorded right here in Vancouver at Vancouver Yuck Yucks.
Yeah.
And
I produced it.
lovely Kevvy produced it.
That was great. It actually was great because we did that album and your contribution to the Yuck Yucks compilation at the
That's right.
same time. It was like such a cakewalk working with you because you're very professional.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, it was
welcome.
nice. It was a fun weekend. We did. I was a little bit panicked. I was like, "Can you please come out and record the early?" And you came out.
Yeah,
And you were
that
just
was fine.
You're like, "Yeah, dude, no problem." I wish you'd stop shaking while you talk to me. I'm like, "No,
Just relax, Brittany. Okay.
take
I'll get an old man here to wipe his ass in front of you to make you comfortable.
Yeah, make you feel a little better.
Sorry, fellas.
Sorry, fellas.
Sorry, fellas.
I'm gonna call this episode "Sorry, Fellas." Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Comedy Here Often podcast, and thank you to Brittany Lyseng for coming in and hanging out. Make sure to follow her on social media. Make sure to follow us on all our social media at Comedy Here Often on all platforms. We'll see you next week.